Ladies and gentlemen, this is MTGO Traders. My name is Taryn, and this is September 8th for Ixalan spoiler season. Alright guys, I'm going to get right into it. So first up, we've got a card that needs translating. It is Conqueror of Battle, 2 colorless, 1 white for a 2/2 Vampire Soldier. When Conqueror of Battle enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a name called Conqueror of Battle, reveal it and put it into your hand. Shuffle your library afterwards. I think this card is a lot of fun. It's similar to Squadron Hawk, although it does cost 1 more and it's not flying, but a 3-mana 2/2 that can tutor out others of the same kind is really cool in draft sealed and maybe even a cool standard brew. If you are one of the lucky few that can pull into this in draft over and over again, this is going to be a card that's going to actually keep your tempo going turn over turn, and I think that's awesome. Of course, the problem with all of these cards that kind of tutor themselves out is if you don't pull into a lot of them in draft or in sealed, then it's kind of just a dead card in your hand. A 2/2 for 3 is not great when it's just a 2/2 for 3. But moving on to the next card, we have Rile. It's 1 red mana for a sorcery. Rile deals 1 damage to target creature you control. That creature gains trample until end of turn. Draw a card. This is our Enrage enabler. Just think about that dinosaur that we talked about yesterday. When it does get enraged, you can actually tutor out a land from your deck and put it onto the battlefield. With Rile, it's a land drop with an enrage trigger, and you get to draw a card. So that is awesome. In draft and in sealed, this card is a common for a reason. You're going to be wanting to pull into as many of these as possible for your dinosaurs if you're in that tribe. In standard, this is definitely going to be in your dinosaur deck. I think it's very good. I'm not sure about how many, probably 2 or 4 of. Just depends on if we have another card that's maybe 2 mana that does 1 across the entire board. Maybe something like a Blazing Volley, but for our side of the board. That would be awesome. But moving on to another card, we have Bishop of the Bloodstained, 3 colorless, 2 black mana for a 3/3 Vampire Cleric. Again, oxymoron. When Bishop of the Bloodstained enters the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life for each vampire you control. In draft and in sealed, this is a super interesting late game bomb. Even though it's a 3/3 for 5, if you have multiple vampires on the board, this could win you the game outright without doing anything. In standard, this might be a 1 or 2 of in a vampire tribal deck if you're wanting to make sure that you're actually dealing that extra last 2 or 3 points of damage against this stubborn opponent. I think if it doesn't see any kind of main board play, it will probably see some sort of sideboard tech. It's just a card that's very interesting. It is 5 mana, so it is quite a bit, but if you have a heavy board presence, then it's going to be a definite 5 or 6 point life swing for your opponent. But moving on up, we've got Dinosaur Stampede, 2 colorless, 1 red mana for an instant. Attacking creatures get +2/+0 until end of turn. Dinosaurs you control gain trample until end of turn. Again, the trample trigger for all these dinosaurs is awesome. I can't wait to try this out. In draft and in sealed, this is going to be your combat trick that's going to win you the game. This is a win more ability, or an ability where basically if you're in the dinosaur tribe, it's going to help you either trade with creatures and still do damage, or just win the game outright, or completely clear their board. This might see some play in an aggressive dinosaur tribal strategy in standard, but it's kind of a little early to tell. But that trample addition for dinosaurs is relevant. The next card we have is Lurking Chupacabra. Wow. 3 colorless, 1 black mana for a 2/3 beast horror. Whenever a creature you control explores, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. This is an interesting 2/3 for 4 in draft and in sealed. If you pull into a lot of things that explore for you, this is obviously going to be great for your board presence, but it is quite expensive again for just a 2/3. So it's one of those trade-off cards that if you're pulling into a lot of explore mechanics, then this is going to be a great removal spell that's going to be repeated over and over again in draft and sealed. I don't think this will see play outside of that. It's just way too expensive. It's like kind of on the cusp, just like how the vampire was, where it's a 3/3 for 5. I think that ability is a lot more relevant since it's an enter the battlefield ability versus this ability where you need to explore after it. So it's not as good for me for standard. I don't really see that having any kind of impact on standard, but in draft and sealed, go nuts. Moving on up, we have Merfolk Branchwalker. It's 1 colorless, 1 green mana for a 2/1 Merfolk Scout. When Merfolk Branchwalker enters the battlefield, it explores. Okay, so if you're in Golgari colors, this card and the card before, Lurking Chupacabra, is actually a really cool interaction there. I think that's really interesting. And a 2/1 for 1 is actually okay in draft and sealed just because it has the additional ability to explore. So it can become a 3/2 if you don't have anything, or it can just get you in land. So that's great too. So I think a 3/2 for 2 is great. And I think the explorer mechanic, again, I think it's super interesting, and it's going to be a lot better than people think it's going to be. Moving on to another card, we have Rampaging Ferocidon. Is that how you pronounce it? 2 colorless, 1 red mana for a 3/3 dinosaur. It has menace. Players can't gain life, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield, Rampaging Ferocidon deals 1 damage to that creature's controller. This card is amazing. There were a lot of murmuring around that I think this is going to be in the new Ramanap Red build, and I absolutely agree. Life gain against Ramanap Red is devastatingly powerful, so this might be a sideboard card or a main board card just based on how much life gain there will be in the new standard. I think this card is incredibly powerful, powerful. I think the ability to stack it because it's not legendary is also super powerful. But of course, it does have the Eidolon of Great Revel kind of ability where it pings you and your opponent as well. So make sure your tempo is on board and you're moving forward, not backwards. I think this card as well is super good in EDH, where you have maybe a token strategy or a heavy creature heavy strategy coming in with a lot of creatures hitting the board. It's going to pin your opponent down and just completely decimate their life total. And of course, in draft, a 3/3 for 3 with Menace is amazing. Not being able to have them gain life is also good, and the tempo loss of the point damage to their life is amazing too. So this is going to be a card that's just going to be played in almost every format it's in, so pick it if you have it. Moving on up, we have Search for Azcanta. It's 1 colorless, 1 green mana for a legendary enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library. You may put it into your graveyard, then if you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you may transform Search for Azcanta. When it flips, it turns into Azcanta the Sunken Ruin. It's a legendary land. Add 1 blue mana to your mana pool. You can pay 2 colors and 1 blue and tap it. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature land card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. I think this is going to be really good tech for a control strategy in Standard. However, I don't think the flip ability is what I'm thinking about. I think the top ability here, where you can just basically scry or toss into the graveyard if you want to, is going to be the main reason this is going to be played. However, when it does get flipped, I think basically having a Glimmer of Genius that you can tap as a land is really relevant too. So I think this is a really powerful card. I'm not really sure where it's going to see play in as far as like a slot. It's a super good filtering card for your deck, but again, I'm not entirely sure where it's going to see play. I don't think it'll be highly sought after in draft or sealed. I think that is probably a format that this will not like. I think in EDH, where you're trying to like set up your plays or like, you know, filter through your deck for certain kind of cards, I think this is a great card to have in EDH, and in Standard this might see play in some sort of Izzet or Azurius build for control. But again, it's a lot of mana for 3 to kind of do this over and over again, so it's interesting for sure. I think it might be broken in a way, but you know, I'm still leery to say this card is like amazing. I think it's great, but I don't know if it's going to be, because it's a legendary enchantment, I don't know if it's going to be played over and over again. But in a way, this is almost a more powerful Glimmer of Genius, so it could be played a 4 of in a control deck over Glimmer of Genius, just depending on, you know, how your deck is played. So this is one of those cards where it's like, you really got to see it in action to make an opinion on it. So I think overall it's a great card though. But moving on to the last card of the day, we have Vraska, Relic Seeker. Finally, we get Vraska in the set. Jeez. It's a 4 colorless for a black-green 6 loyalty counter, legendary planeswalker Vraska. Her +2, create a 2/2 black pirate creature token with Menace, which is mind-bogglingly good. Her +2 makes a 2/2 with Menace. That is so good, guys. Her -3, destroy target artifact, creature, or enchantment. What? Then create a colorless treasure token with, again, tap, sack this artifact, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. That is also super good, and she can do it as soon as she gets out of the board. And her -10, target player's life total becomes 1. What? Well, I do think she is a bit expensive. 6 mana is a lot, guys. What she does, okay, one, she protects herself, so that's marking off on the Planeswalker list, so that she does protect herself. She makes a creature that has evasion automatically, and she can immediately destroy a target artifact, creature, or enchantment. So she's doing a lot of things really quickly as soon as she comes on the board, so she's very relevant. And she only needs 3 turns to make her ultimate go off, so that's also something that's super relevant too. So if someone can't deal with Vraska when she comes on, like she gets down as a 6, she +2, she goes up to 8, if they can't get her down the next turn, then she's probably going to go off on her ultimate. I think she represents a really fast clock in Standard, especially because Standard is going to be slowing down quite a bit in the next Standard rotation. So I think this card is amazing. I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think of this card. I think it's great. I don't think it's as good as Garruk Apex Predator as far as like Golgari Planeswalkers, but I think it is probably the best version of Vraska and most versions of Garruk in green, period. So it's one of those cards where it's like I look at it and I'm just kind of like shocked that it's actually decent. But again, for 6 mana, it better be amazing. I think out of the Planeswalkers that have been spoiled so far, Vraska takes the cake for me. But that is going to do it for Ixalan previews today. I have a whole nother video I'm probably going to make tomorrow talking about the iconic Masters cards that are coming out. Holy God almighty, those are amazing. I'll talk about those in another video, but this is just the Ixalans today. Ixalan spoilers today. But yeah, like the video if you liked it. Let me know what you thought of the cards below. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I'm always down there commenting back as often as I can. I will see you guys in the next video.